From the All Indiana Podcast Network.
The All Indiana Podcast Network.
This is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now all the latest news.
Kylie Conway has all the news you need to know.
And more.
Please stand by.
Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily 8 for Wednesday, September 15th. So after last night's storms, there is some cooler and drier air moving in. However, the cool down's short-lived. The temps are going to heat up into the upper 80s again by the weekend. And a huge early morning fire scorched dozens of cars on the south side of Indianapolis. IFD says some 40 cars burned. It happened at Insurance Auto Auctions, which has a large lot on South Harding Street. Firefighters got the call at about 2 a.m. and say that they had the flames under control by 3:30. Right now, it's being investigated, possibly that a lightning strike is what caused the fire. A double shooting at an apartment complex that police know well. It happened at Parkview at Beach Grove last night. It's the second shooting there in 2 weeks. Police say both victims were awake when officers got there. Last Monday, police went to the same complex and found someone shot. And today, classes are canceled at an Indianapolis elementary school, reeling from the death of a student. Support will be available at IPS George Julian School 57 today. 2 cars crashed in a school zone outside the building, killing a 7-year-old student and seriously injuring 2 adults. Police say one of the adults is a crossing guard. So it happened at Ritter and Washington on the city's east side. IPS Superintendent Alicia Johnson released a statement last night saying the district family is devastated. She writes, "We extend our love and deepest sympathies to the student's family and loved ones. We are also hoping for a full recovery for the 2 adults involved in the accident." One man who lives in the area says he's concerned about that intersection. Police say there were 2 cars in the crash, and right now it's too soon to say which one or if both hit the victims. According to IMPD, the driver stayed there at the scene and cooperated. A neighbor who lives there says that he unfortunately saw something like this coming. He says he's seen several scary situations over the years involving reckless driving in the area.
Well, they should look around and see these 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs. They've got the flashing lights on them, and you're supposed to slow down, but some of them don't. They fly through here.
At this point, IMPD said it's too soon to tell if a road rage situation distracted driving or neither was the case. Both drivers had their blood drawn. It's standard in a crash investigation where someone is seriously hurt or killed. Now, the school will be open beginning at 9 a.m. for students, staff, and families if you might need support from the crisis response team. Governor Gavin Newsome has defeated an attempt to kick him from office. The recall election votes are still being tallied this morning. At last check, 67% counted and show Newsome's overwhelming victory. Newsome's opponents criticize his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Activists launched the recall effort while frustrated over restrictions on schools and businesses. Newsome accepted victory, saying the results are about more than just his holding office.
No is not the only thing that was expressed tonight. I want to focus on what we said yes to as a state. We said yes to science. We said yes to vaccines. We said yes to ending this pandemic. We said yes to people's right to vote without fear of fake fraud or voter suppression.
Conservative talk show host Larry Elder was the Republican frontrunner. He spoke to supporters after his loss.
Let's be gracious. Let's be gracious in defeat. And by the way, we may have lost the battle, but we are going to win the war.
Newsome's current term ends in January of 2023. And the Department of Justice is asking a federal judge to pause the new abortion law in Texas. The law bans abortions after the detection of heart activity, which is usually around 6 weeks. The new Justice Department request follows a lawsuit it filed last week calling the abortion ban unconstitutional. Earlier this month, the Supreme Court allowed the law to continue, finding that abortion providers failed to adequately make a case that it should be stopped. There are new signs of tension on the Korean peninsula. South Korea has followed a North Korean missile launch with its own show of force. The North fired first, overnight our time, said to be short-range missiles in back-to-back launches. Then soon after, the South fired from an underwater platform for the first time, signaling a wider range for its own program. All of it is playing out against the uncertain future of North Korea's nuclear program. Today, 4 elite U.S. gymnasts will be on Capitol Hill sharing their stories. Simone Biles, Michaela Maroney, Maggie Nichols, and Allie Raceman will speak in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Lawmakers are calling for the testimony and reviewing the FBI's handling of the sex abuse investigation of Larry Nassar. All 4 gymnasts say they are victims of the former USA gymnastics doctor. A Justice Department report this summer claimed FBI officials violated the agency's policy in the investigation. Officials found investigators made false statements and failed to properly document accusations. And this comes as the Washington Post reports that an Indianapolis FBI agent is out of a job for his mishandling of the case. According to the newspaper, Supervisory Special Agent Michael Langman was fired last week. The Post reports that Langman interviewed Michaela Maroney in 2015. COVID-19 vaccines for younger children could be coming soon. Dr. Anthony Fauci puts the timeline as by the fall. He says studies underway now appear to hold enough data for the shot makers to request emergency use authorization for those 5 and older. Pfizer has said it plans to submit data by the end of the month, with Moderna following soon after. Until then, he's doubling down on familiar advice.
So if you surround the kids with vaccinated people and you have everybody wear a mask, you can get a situation where the children will be relatively safe in school.
The acting FDA commissioner says the agency will review the data as quickly as possible, likely in a matter of weeks rather than months. And booster shots are about to be going into arms in the UK. Beginning next week, over 30 million people will be able to get another dose. People over the age of 50, healthcare workers, and those with health conditions will be eligible. Boosters will be given no earlier than 6 months after the second shot. The announcement comes a day after Britain's government backed plans to offer vaccines to children 12 to 15 years old. The Indiana Department of Health is reporting a glitch with its school COVID-19 counts. The explanation is in a note on the state COVID dashboard. It says a technical issue caused some schools that were reporting 0 cases for the school year to incorrectly show up as not reporting. It goes on to say the problem does not affect school or statewide case counts. NBA players will not need to get their shot before the start of the season. A source tells CNN vaccines will not be mandated for players unless something completely unforeseen happens. The source claims about 85% of players in the league are fully vaccinated already. The NBA is requiring vaccinations for coaches, referees, and game day personnel. And today, you can weigh in on the state's new redistricting maps for both the U.S. House and the State House of Representatives. This afternoon is the first of 2 public hearings at 1 o'clock in the House chamber. State Republicans released their maps yesterday. The biggest local change of note, a northern shift of the district that Victoria Spartz represents, likely bolstering Republican support for her and further securing Andre Carson's seat for Democrats. Senate maps come out next week with another public hearing to follow. Former President Donald Trump wants to see action taken after revelations in a new bombshell book. It claims the country's former top military officer took secret action to limit Trump's military response powers. Journalists Bob Woodward and Robert Costa released Peril. In it, they say Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley took top secret action to limit Trump's ability to order a military strike or launch nuclear weapons. The authors say Milley, Trump's top military advisor, took that action 2 days after Trump supporters attacked the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. This morning, the former president is denying the claims. In a response on his website, Trump says that if true, then action should be taken immediately against the general. Now retired Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman agrees. He testified against the former president during his first impeachment trial. Here's what he has to say about the book.
I said, if the reporting is accurate, if the senior most military officer in the United States Army or in the United States military acted without any oversight, without any accountability, I find that deeply troubling. It's doing the what to me seems like the wrong thing for seemingly the right reason. There's not a way to get away with that. There's not a way to walk away from that unscathed.
There are growing calls for something to be done. Republican Senator Marco Rubio wrote a letter to President Biden calling for Milley's immediate dismissal. Milley's office has not commented. And the body of the fallen Marine from Indiana is now at rest after a funeral with friends, family, and local and state leaders. Corporal Humberto Sanchez was killed last month in a suicide attack at the airport in Kabul, Afghanistan. During the service, speakers remembered him as a man who put service ahead of himself.
When I asked his mother how soon they knew that he was special, the answer was from birth. And his mom told me, just look at the pictures and you'll see. It was always a spark. And it's true. His friends and teachers said that Bert lit up every room he walked into, and you could tell that. That smile was contagious.
His sister said he excelled at everything he did. Sometimes made you jealous. His brother said, that's the reason he was so tall. He was tall and lanky because you had to fit the smarts in somewhere. Bright, talented, funny, beloved. What a great American.
Burial services included a rifle volley salute, the playing of taps, and an American flag also presented to Sanchez's family. One Republican senator is calling for Secretary of State Antony Blinken's resignation. Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri is threatening to stall civilian nominees for the Defense and State Departments until Blinken resigns. His stance follows Blinken's Senate testimony on the country's withdrawal from Afghanistan. So here you're going to hear first from Republican Senator James Risch and then Democratic Senator Jeanne Shaheen.
You know, there is not enough lipstick in the world to put on this pig to make it look any different than what it actually is. So
let's stop with the hypocrisy about who's to blame. There are a lot of people to blame, and we all share in it.
Blinken claims a deal made between the Trump administration and the Taliban left President Biden with few options. He testified that the Biden administration is still focused on the American citizens inside the country. Indiana Senator Todd Young serves on the committee. These are his words after the Blinken hearing. The days ahead demand strategic clarity as we seek to realign our national security priorities to confront and deter a rising China while ensuring that Afghanistan does not once again become a safe haven for terrorists. Dangerous flooding in communities still recovering from Hurricane Ida. Forecasters warn of hazards from Tropical Depression Nicholas. Heavy rain is expected. Multiple towns are under tornado warnings. This morning, cleanup is underway for what Nicholas left behind in Texas. The nearly 200,000 people in Texas and Louisiana are without power. State police say a prominent attorney who was wounded in a shooting had hired the shooter to kill him. Curtis Edward Smith survived and now faces several charges, including assisted suicide and insurance fraud. Investigators think he set up the hit so his son would get $10 million in insurance money. Smith has been in the news for several shocking headlines, including the murders of his wife and another son. Police say he was not involved in those. The Colts practice this afternoon to get ready for the game. It's a chance to shore up weak spots from the season-opening loss. Head coach Frank Reich says he was not happy with what he saw from the offensive line. He hopes this week will give players the chance to step up.
Overall, the protection aspect was, probably not up to our standards, Zach, as you mentioned last night. So we need to be better. We need to be better as coaches. We need to be better as players. I think it's going to be a great week, not only for Quentin, but for the whole O-line. Last year they were number one defense in the NFL. It starts with Aaron Donald up front. So my experience is, especially with these guys and these players, is that kind of brings something about in you. Like, hey, I got to step up here. I got to rise to the occasion. I got to rise to the challenge.
Kickoff is Sunday at 1. A rocket set to carry the first all-civilian crew is docked and ready for launch. The Spacex mission is scheduled to send 4 people to orbit Earth for 3 days. If the weather allows, Inspiration 4 launches after 8 tonight from the Kennedy Space Center. The crew includes a billionaire CEO of a payment processing company, a physician's assistant at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, an Air Force veteran, and a geoscientist. The crew's mission is to raise $200 million for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and study how the human body reacts in space. And dry humor just lost one of its best voices. Norm Macdonald has died. He was first and best known as a regular on Saturday Night Live. He frequently tempted fate and his own future on the show with jokes that were direct, honest, and unflinching. Longtime friend Adam Sandler says in a new post, "Every one of us loved Norm. Some of the hardest laughs of my life with this man. Most fearless, funny, original guy we knew. An incredible dad, a great friend, a legend. Love you, pal." David Letterman paid tribute online, saying, "In every important way, in the world of stand-up, Norm was the best. An opinion shared by all of my peers." When former Senator Bob Dole was running for president, McDonald did a famed third-person impersonation. The real Dole loved it and echoed it in a new post, writing, "Bob Dole will miss Norm Macdonald." McDonald's manager says the comedian had been privately battling cancer for years. Norm Macdonald was 61 years old. Gleaner's Community Cupboard is opening to in-person shopping for the first time during the pandemic today. This time around, it's offering a new and improved pantry experience to families, utilizing its full space, eliminating the waiting room and enhancing shopping choices. There's also new and improved home delivery and upcoming Gleaners to-go pickup options. The ribbon-cutting ceremony was at 9:45 this morning. And finally, to business headlines. A trade group that represents the nation's meat processors, including JBS USA, Cargill, and Tyson Foods, blasted the Biden administration for accusing the industry of pandemic profiteering, saying the government refuses to acknowledge the real problem. The North American Meat Institute said surging prices were a result of a nationwide labor shortage, not consolidation of the meat industry. Used car prices fell for the first time in 7 months in August, providing evidence that at least some of the recent inflation seen in the U.S. economy may be temporary. Prices slipped 1.4% last month, posting the first decline since January. Despite the decline in August, used car prices were still up 32% from year-ago levels as the global chip shortage has boosted demand for pre-owned vehicles. American incomes fell last year as the U.S. dealt with the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. The Census Bureau reports median household income was $67,500 in 2020, down 2.9% from the prior year. The poverty rate in 2020 was 11.4%, an increase of 1 percentage point from 2019. And for the past 3 years, Facebook has been conducting studies into how its photo-sharing app affects its millions of young users. Instagram, we're talking about. Repeatedly, the company's researchers found that Instagram is harmful for a sizable percentage of them, most notably teenage girls. The Wall Street Journal reports in public, Facebook has consistently played down the app's negative effects on teens and hasn't made its research public or available to academics or lawmakers who have asked for it. This has been your News 8 Daily 8. For Wish TV, I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
Check out more podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
allindianapodcastnetwork.com.